Welcome back to Blender for Blogs. I'm Justin, and we are using Blender's video editor to edit videos for our blogs. In the last video, we talked about adding a background using Google Slides to design it a little bit and then import it in. And in this video, we're going to be talking about fades, transitioning fades from black and fades to black, or any other color really for that matter. So yeah, I'm just going to get right to it. I'm going to go to the beginning here. This is on channel 12, so I'm going to Shift A, add an effect strip color on channel 13, enter. And we have our black, which is right here. I'm actually going to Shift B and zoom in here a little bit. So now if I play this.
Welcome to Blender for Blogs. My name is Justin.
It's just black until it cut off right there, and then we see the rest of our stuff. So there are three main ways that you can make a fade, and I'm going to show you them in the order from my least favorite to my favorite. So my least favorite is the most common, probably, and that is you add keyframes and do an animation. So we start at the very beginning, make sure our color is selected, and here's our opacity. So if we change our opacity, that changes how much we can see through that color. So we want full opacity at the very beginning. I'm going to hover my mouse over the opacity bar here, and then I'm going to press the key I, like igloo. And you can see it changes to a yellow color. That means that there is now a keyframe on here. And you can see that down here in our timeline. If I come over to View and then uncheck only keyframes from selected channels, and now we see all keyframes. So you can see this little yellow keyframe right there, that little tick mark. So now if I move the timeline cursor on this color, you can see it turns green when I'm not on that keyframe. When I'm on the keyframe, it's yellow, and when I'm off of it, it's green. And the green just indicates that there is a keyframe somewhere on this opacity, just not here. The yellow would be the actual keyframe, and the green would mean that there is some keyframe somewhere, but it's not here. So I'm going to go page up to the end of our color here. I'm going to change the opacity to 0, and then I'm with my mouse hovering over that, hit I again, and now that changes to yellow because now there is, let's see if I zoom in here. I think I can do a box zoom here too, yes. Now you can see those two keyframes there. And let's play that. So if I go all the way back to the beginning and then play.
Welcome to Blender for Blogs.
You can see it fades from black to transparent, to from full opacity to 0 opacity. Opacity? See, I don't even know how to speak English. Anyway, so that's one. That's the first way. Now, it's my least favorite because it's very wooden a little bit. It's hard to kind of change that. And what I mean is, let's say you want it to fade in a little bit slower. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag this out. But that does not change our fade.
My name is Justin, and this is
so it's a little deceiving. So when you're kind of like working through the timeline and you see this color going all the way here, you should be thinking, oh, well, that means that it fades all the way here. Well, that's what it looks like visually, but that's not the case. It's still only between these two keyframes. So to change that is, make sure, change this to where you think you want it. And then I would drag out just another thing here. Maybe drag this up a little bit. Change this one to the dope sheet. Dope. With our timeline, in the middle, somewhere here in the middle, in the middle of our keyframes, hit 0 to center that. And then you can either do a box zoom or just control. Maybe you can't do a box zoom here. Nope. So control and the middle mouse and then just drag to the right until we're zoomed in here a little bit. And here are our keyframes. So you can see these this is the keyframe here, and this is the end keyframe here, as you can see, matching our timeline. So let's clean this up a little bit. What I'm going to do is hit A to deselect all of them so that they're all white. If I hit A again, that selects all of them and then they're yellow. So A, they're all white. Now it's a little cluttered because there's only 2 keyframes, but you see like 4 for each of them. And that just means these are all the same keyframe. So if you select one of them and all of them are selected, that means that's all one keyframe there. So this is too much. It's just too cluttered. So we don't need the dope sheet summary. So I'm just going to check this. So that gets rid of that summary over here. And then I'm going to check the selection or the little cursor there. That means only what's selected is going to be shown. So if I select something else, that disappears. So keep that in mind. Select A again to deselect all of those. And then I'm just going to collapse this up here because that's the same keyframe. Now we have just 2 keyframes, and you can see 1, 2. And we can drag that down just a little bit more to give us more room up here. All right, so now what we can do is if I press page up to go to the end of this strip and kind of zoom out here, same thing, control and middle mouse button. And we'll find our cursor there. With this selected, so just make sure you select that one. It'll turn yellow, and then you do Shift S, and then current frame. This is going to snap whatever is selected to the current frame. And there we go. So now we've moved that keyframe to exactly that frame. Now you could press G to move that keyframe as well, or you can just click and drag to move that. But if you want to be exact on that exact frame, that's how you would snap it. And now let's refresh our sequencer there and go to the beginning and play.
Welcome to Blender for Blogs.
And now you can see it slowly fades from black through the entire strip of the color. But see, the problem with this is if I decide to change it again, well, I'm going to have to change the keyframe too. So now, if I change it to be shorter, like in between these 2 keyframes, you see, it's not going to finish fading at the keyframe. It's going to stop fading right there because that's where the strip ends. So again, this is all just really wooden and just a lot of steps that you have to do. So let me show you the next way to do a fade, which is a little bit shorter. I'm going to collapse this because we don't need the dope sheet right now. I'm going to come up here where it says opacity, right click and then clear keyframes. And that will get rid of all of our keyframes on this color. Bring that opacity all the way up again. So the next thing you can do is select your color first, shift select whatever you want it to fade to. So our image strip, our image sequence there. And then shift A to add in an effect strip, cross. And there we go. So now we
Welcome to Blender for Blogs.
Fade in.
Justin,
and that way, if we change the size, it changes the length of that fade as well.
All about how to use Blender to create.
So that's pretty cool, except you can probably already notice a problem, and it only does it, it only crosses between the color and whatever you selected here. Now, I don't know if I can select the background as well. Let's try that. So I'll just select the cross and hit X to erase that strip. I'm going to hit color, shift select our image sequence, and then shift select our background. And then shift A, effect strip, and cross. Let's see if that works.
Welcome to Blender for Blogs. My name is Justin, and this is a video.
And it doesn't, or it gives us just some weird stuff. So just gonna erase that cross again. So the other way to get that background cross fading along with this is to let's create a little bit more room. I'm gonna grab and pull this down, and then I'm going to duplicate the background, bring it up. And with the background and the image strip selected, we're going to hit K to cut. And then what we're going to do is we're going to combine these two into a meta strip by Control G. And we can just move that up a little bit. Okay, so now if I select the color, then select the meta strip, do our Shift A, add in our where's our cross? Add in our cross. Now,
Welcome to Blender for Blogs. My name is Justin, and this
it
is a video
fades in
series
like
that
that.
is
But again, this kind of defeats the I mean, this is okay, but it kind of defeats the purpose of just being able to change that fade to be slower or faster, because then again, you're just going to have to change all of this. So that's why I really don't like these two fades. So now I'm going to show you my favorite one. I'm just going to delete all of this stuff again. We're going to bring these back to the beginning. Delete this background because we already have this one down here. So I'm going to show you my favorite one now. And what I'm going to do is select everything by hitting A until everything is selected, and then H to hide. Then I'm going to come over to render, hit render, go over to our just rendering, and you can see this is our transparency. I'm going to go to image, save as image. And then make sure you have PNG, and then you have RGBA with that alpha selected. And I'm going to name this alpha. Enter, enter. Now I've saved it. I'm going to go back over to my video editing, select all, unhide those, double H or Alt H, whichever configuration you have. And I'm going to hide this original footage here again because I don't need that right now. And now I'm going to come over here, about right here, and then add in an image, and then add in our alpha image. Make sure that's on channel 13 as well. And that's black too, but that's because we need to change our blend mode to overdrop. And now we have a transparent strip. Why do we have a transparent strip? Well, because now we can select our color, shift select our alpha strip, and shift A, effect strip, cross, and now we have a cross between our color and our alpha. But with the cross selected, again, change this to overdrop. That's going to get tedious after a while. But now let's just refresh to see. We have a fade that fades in from our color to our alpha, and this can be changed very quickly. So let's say this is too long and I want to make this shorter. I just grab our alpha and hit G and then move this in. Now we have a really short fade from black. Or if I want to change my mind and lengthen that out, just drag that alpha strip over and immediately we can see the effects on that. And it doesn't affect anything beneath us. We don't have to manipulate anything or duplicate and make meta strips, or we don't have to mess with keyframes on our dope sheet. Just really, really cool. And it also gives us a very good visual when we're working with a whole bunch of different strips. We can see exactly when our fade stops and it starts. It's just so much more convenient like this. Another cool thing is if I wanted to, let's actually just box select these and duplicate them out. Oops, I did not do that right. So let's delete those and make sure all of these are selected here. Duplicate that. And I'm going to select the cross and then hit X to delete that. And then move this on the other side. And now if I select, you have to, it matters which order you select it. So if I select my alpha first, shift select my color, that means the alpha is going to fade to the color. So now shift A, add in our cross, and make sure our cross is over drop. And now
original footage like this.
we have a fade
Cut out
to
anything that you don't
black.
want,
And
like
that
this.
is too slow, so I'm going to just adjust that real quick.
Cut out everything that you don't want, like this.
Fade to black. Boom. And then we can extend our black out however long we want. And then let's say I want to fade it in again just right after here, and I'm just going to select our alpha, Shift D to duplicate that over here. Select the color, Shift select the alpha, add in another cross, and boom, there we go. Now, let's say we want the cross to be exactly the same length as this one, just to match our fade out and our fade in. And I'm going to bring this out just a little bit, make it a little bit slower.
Everything that you don't want, like this.
Yeah, that's good. So let's see, that is, you can see up here it's grayed out because you can't change it up here, but you can still see it's the length is 28. So what I'm going to do is page up at the end of the color, and then down here is where this is our timeline cursor. That's the frame that it's on, 707. So I'm going to click in there, and then I'm going to do plus 28 because that's how long it was. It's 28. All right. And so that is how long I know. So if I just do Shift S there, and we'll bring that back down again. Oops. And now I'm going to have to actually delete this here. Click this, Shift S to snap that to, and then we can add that in again. And now it's the same exact length. So we have
everything that you don't want, like this.
Fade out,
and then reposition yourself in
fade
order
in.
to show
Oh, and then we have to make that overdrop as well.
background, and then reposition yourself
there we
in
go.
order to show us that.
So that is it. Now, I'm not going to actually be doing the black fade here in my video, but I know that's very common, so I know many people probably are itching to know, well, how can I do these fades? And of course, you can change these colors just like this, So then it would be fade to blue.
Reposition yourself in
or whatever. In my found video, if you've seen that, my lost parody video, I did a fade from white, fade to and fade from white.
Like this, and then reposition yourself in order.
Okay. Anyway, one more thing here, one more tip I can kind of show you here. Actually, let's select this and our background. Nope, just this. And we're going to drag this out just a little bit here. So this is currently fading here, but let's say we don't want to fade it. Let's drag this out like this and like this. And then select that, snap that to the beginning. So refresh our sequencer because we changed a lot of things here. And basically what I did is I just had this hang on that first frame while it's fading so that it's not continuing to fade while I'm talking, or at least not for very much of while I'm talking. So we've got
Welcome
something
to
that looks
Blender
like
for
this.
Vlogs. My name is Justin, and this is a video series that...
Oh, no, I did something wrong. So now oh yeah, right, duh. So let's clear this off strip. So strip, clear, strip offset, so we get that back. And of course, if I move my image sequence, I also have to move my audio so that stays in sync. And now we can move that, snap that back to the front there, refresh that sequencer.
Welcome to Blender for Vlogs.
That might be a little bit too obvious. Let's do that, and then we can. I'm just kind of, messing with things right now. I have to move these at the same time. So let's do Control. So it snaps that to the beginning.
Welcome to Blender for Blogs.
And let's do that. And
Welcome to Blender for Blogs.
there we go.
My name
I
is
like
Justin.
that. So there, that's how you can kind of play around with those fades. So now we can go full force with some of our other edits. And to be honest, I don't actually know how to record this, so I don't know exactly what the next videos are going to look like, but they're just going to be basically showing you things very similar to what you just saw. So just bear with me as I kind of get the feel for this, but basically it's everything from here on is just organic. I just add things as I go. And I'll show you how to make, some markers to mark things that you maybe want to keep in mind. But really, to be honest, I just add things wherever I feel that I need to add them. Maybe I get tired of working on something and I jump to another part of the footage and do that. Or if I get excited about adding a certain thing in, I'll do that. So it's not really linear. I don't have a method to my madness really. So it's going to be a learning experience for me. We'll see how this goes, and I'll see you in the next video.